Morning everyone, welcome to this video revision lesson. In it, we're going to be looking at a few different tasks, ultimately leading up to completing an exam-style question for Macbeth. So for this lesson, all you'll need is something to write with and something to write on, as well as this video. You can use a pen and a blank sheet of paper if you want. You could use a word processor such as Google Docs or Microsoft Word. And I've put a link to a free copy of the slides in the video description below so that you can download them and type on the slides, or even print off the slides and write by hand on or around them. Now on the right hand side in the blue box, I've put a link to a free online copy of Macbeth with modern day translations that you can use if you want to. It's completely up to you how you prefer to complete the lesson, but just keep in mind that it's the revision of these key skills that's the important thing. So for GCSE English Literature Paper 1, we have a Shakespeare question and the 19th century novel question. Now this lesson will be focused on the first half of the exam paper and we'll be looking more specifically at Macbeth. So to start us off, pause the video and write down everything that you can remember about this question. I've put some prompt questions on the slide to help you out. So, as stated at the beginning, the idea of this lesson is to remind you of the different parts of the exam question. Then we're going to complete an exam style question, and you can peer assess a response that I wrote and let me know if it's any good. And then you can self-assess your own answer and set some targets of things to focus on during your revision time at home. Now on the examiner's mark scheme there are 6 levels. And in each level there are 5 bullet points of things that you have to include in your answer. Now what I want you to write down in your own words is what these 5 things are. They're basically the 5 things that your answer has to have in order to get a good mark. Now if you're struggling, rewind the video to the last slide and read back through the assessment objectives on the right hand side. Pause the video and complete this task now. Now this one seems like an odd question, but it is relevant to the lesson, trust me, I'm not just looking for relationship advice. What qualities do you think are necessary for a successful and or healthy romantic relationship? Now I don't mean romantic as in lovey-dovey, I mean a romantic relationship, as in not your friend, not your family, someone that you would be married to. Now I'll be quiet for about 15 seconds and I'll give you a chance to write down as many ideas as you can. Now, thinking more specifically about the relationship between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, would you say they have a successful or a healthy relationship? Or would you use another word to describe it? And why? What gives you this impression? Pause the video and aim to get 4 or 5 bullet points down. Right, the exam question that you're going to have a go at today is this one. Starting with the extract that we'll look at later, how does Shakespeare present the relationship between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth? So, essentially, we have opinions about a relationship that Shakespeare made up in his head a few hundred years ago. Now you might think that they have a perfect relationship, or an unusual one, or an unhealthy one. Either way, he has put something in his script that somehow makes us feel this way, that makes us have an opinion on the relationship of 2 made-up characters. Now we need to work out what that was. What was it that he did to show us what the relationship was like? So pause the video and bullet point any parts of the play that give you a glimpse of what their relationship was like. Which bits give us a fly-on-the-wall perspective? Now if you're struggling to think of any, just consider one of these. I won't read them all out to you, but these are the ones that I thought of initially. There are definitely some others too, But this is the easy bit. The harder bit is remembering the quotations and explaining what it is about that particular quotation or that particular technique that reveals something about the relationship between these two characters. Now, here's the extract and exam question for today's main task. Pause the video and take 9 minutes to read through the extract and complete the 3 tasks in the blue box. As soon as you've finished, unpause the video and crack on with the next task. And now spend 6 minutes completing the tasks in the green box. Now, to get the most out of a quotation, some people find it useful to explode the quotation, just like the style of this slide. You put your quotation right in the middle, and then around it you complete the sentences in order to explore the quotation in more depth. If you want to use this slide, and if you think that you'll find it useful, use it. Now, I've written a model answer. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. But some people prefer to read my answer before you have a go at writing your own. And some people prefer to read my answer after you've had a go at writing your own, so that my writing doesn't influence your writing. And that's fine. So if you don't want to be influenced by my answer, feel free to fast forward to the next slide. But make sure that you come back to this task after writing your own answer. It's really useful to be peer assessing someone else's answer. You kind of get an idea of what's needed in your own answers. So for those of you that want to read my answer, here you go. Have a read through it, and all I want to know initially is it any good? And don't assume that it's good or that it's a full marker just because I wrote it. I want you to actively use the success criteria box on the right to help you decide if the answer has got everything that it needs. Something that can really help you improve is to work out where other people's answers could be improved. So, help me out. What could you do to this answer to improve it and take it up to the next level? Be specific. Don't just say, add more quotes. Tell me where I could add them and which quotes. Don't just say, add more analysis. Analyse one of my quotes for me. Give me an extra interpretation. Add to the answer. Now, in the blue box, I've put a link to the exam board's mark scheme just in case you need it. Pause the video and peer assess my answer now. And just a quick reminder about modal verbs. Modal verbs are verbs that express possibility, such as must, shall, will, should, would, could, can, may, might. And they basically just demonstrate that you can look at one quotation and think about it from different perspectives. You say it could mean this, it might mean that. Overall, they can greatly improve the depth of your analysis. If you've ever got feedback from a teacher saying that you need to explore in more detail or explain in more detail, this is probably what they're talking about. Now, I've given an example of how they can be used in the orange box. You can read through it if you want to get an idea of how they should be used, and then you can try and include some of these words to show multiple interpretations or multiple connotations in your analysis in today's answer. Okay, so we've planned the answer out, and all that's left to do is to write it. I've put basically everything that you need on this slide. There's a success criteria on the right, a list of things that your paragraphs should include in the blue box. Now, we spent roughly 15 minutes planning the answer earlier, so that gives us around 30 minutes left. Now, if your teacher has told you that you get extra time in your exams, you can add this extra time onto your 30 minutes now. Now, what I would do is to aim for one paragraph that focuses on the extract, a second paragraph on the play as a whole, and if you get time, because you're a really quick writer, a third paragraph on a bullet point of your choosing. So pause the video and get started. Good luck. Take a few minutes and read over your answer, and double check that it's got everything in there that you need to get your target grade. Check the success criteria, check the mark scheme, check your list from slide 5, and make sure there are no silly mistakes in there. Remember, there are 4 additional marks for spelling, punctuation and grammar on this question, assessment objective 4. They're essentially handing you 4 marks for free there. Just be careful, read over it, and make sure there are no silly mistakes. Now, if you skipped assessing my answer earlier, now's the time to go back and complete that task. Time to self-assess. Take a highlighter and a different coloured pen to that you wrote in, and label where your answer hits the success criteria in the box at the bottom. Which of those bullet points would you say is the thing that you need to work on and improve on for next time? Pause the video, complete the self-assessment task, and then use the yellow box to write your teacher a letter. And that's it for today's video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, why not like and subscribe? If there's any other topics that you want lessons on, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and happy revising.